Yo, what is up guys? Grim here. So today's video is going to be about making currency, but not in the way most people are familiar with. It's going to be to do with manipulating the vendor and making sure you're getting maximum gains out of your maps by kind of trading the right things to the vendor to make sure you're getting big cash. So today I wanted to go through a few vendor recipes that I feel a lot of people are missing or just don't pay enough attention to, and I would attribute a lot of my kind of granular income, like map by map, like getting 2C there, 2C there, to these vendor recipes. I use them every single play session, every single map, and if you don't know them, you're definitely falling behind the rest of us. So I want to make sure every single one of you guys know all the vendor recipes that are relevant in PoE to the mapping kind of experience. So we're going to start off with the money makers, and then we're going to move on to the kind of convenience and kind of gameplay manipulation ones, like Atlas manipulation and all that kind of stuff. So let's get straight into it. The first one I wanted to talk to you guys about is the new recipe that was just recently added to the game in this patch, which will allow you to get a couple of exalts maybe over a few days, especially if you're a newer player and you're not able to make like 10 exalts a day or anything like that, and you're just kind of like struggling to make an exalt maybe in like a week or something like that. This recipe is going to help you out a lot, and you're actually going to be able to make some solid money, even if you don't know really anything about the game and you're just clearing the maps with an alchemy orb on them, and that's all you're able to do. So this recipe requires you to have a full set of items of Elder or Shaper item bases. So all you need to do is when you're in your maps and you identify an Elder item, just pick it up and stash it away. And when you have a full set of them, and what that means is that you have an item for each item slot in your character. So let's say you've got the helmet, the chest piece, 2 rings, an amulet, gloves, boots, and the belt. And then for the weapon, you want to grab a 2-hander off the ground, and just make sure when you have all that stuff, you want to just come to the vendor. So as you can see here, I've got my 2 rings, I've got my amulet, my belt, my gloves, chest piece, weapon, boots, and helmet, and that gives me 4 exalted shards. And that's obviously not anywhere near a full exalt, but you will start making money. It's these little kind of tiny gains here, a little bit there, a little bit there, and then suddenly you ended up with getting 2 exalts today. Like I think I get like a couple of these sets at least a play session, and that's not bad. That's like 8 out of 20 of an exalt, and that's definitely like 30 chaos or so. So really good money there. And if the map that gives you these items and they're just on the floor, why would you ignore them? So make sure you're picking up specifically the rings and the belts of Elder and Shaper items. So with this set, it doesn't matter what item level any of these things are. It just needs to be Elder items, and you need to make sure they're all Elder. Because if you don't have them all being Elder, I'll show you what happens. Here, let's say we had a shaped belt instead. When we go to the vendor and we try and vendor all these things, it's actually going to give me 2 Regal Orbs, which is not exactly what I want. I want the Exalted Shards because they're worth way more. So that's really interesting. That's going to be our first recipe of today. So you're probably thinking to me, hey, well, what the hell? These Elder and Shaper items, they're super rare. Like, I'm not going to find many of these. Yeah, that's true. But when they do drop, you want to be picking them up. But in the meantime, if you're not a hardcore speed clear monster mapper, jump in the race car, let's go. What you could look into doing is what's called the Chaos recipe. It's exactly like this recipe. You need 1 of each item slot, unidentified, and what you can do with that is go to the vendor and you can trade them all to the vendor similarly to what we did before, and you'll get what we just saw there, 2 Regal Orbs. So you can do this with just regular rare items. So you'd need 2 unidentified rare rings, 1 rare amulet, the belt, the gloves, chest piece, etc., etc. You get it. And what you'll get there is 2 Chaos Orbs from that vendor recipe. Obviously, that's nowhere near as good as the Exalted Shards, but these rare items, you're going to be getting a set or 2 of these per map. So that's going to allow players who are not like the speed clear demons, they're able to get a bit more chaos. If you go at a slower pace, maybe play War Chief Totems or something like that, you can do the chaos recipe and you can make a bit of chaos there. So if you're trying really hard and you can't manage to get like a Devotos or something for 10 chaos or so, you can just do a few maps, do the chaos recipe, and you'll get enough money to buy that Devotos you wanted. And it's guaranteed pretty much. You just need to pick up the rares and you're good to go. So I've got two recipes so far. They're a little bit fiddly, kind of annoying, and I'll show you how I go about dealing with this. So obviously the recipes can get you a lot of money, and if you have stash tabs available to you, you can make good use of them. So what you want to do is put all your belts and jewelry in one of them, like this. You want to make a gloves one, and then you want to sort it along, and then when you get to withdrawing them, you can just go bang, 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 bang. Just kind of get the pieces you need from each of the tabs, and it'll be really quick for you. So that's kind of good, like going to be those recipes. So you get the chaos recipe, the exalt recipe, and next up, I want to show you the bread and butter of my money making mapping kind of experience. This is where a lot of my money comes from, and it's a lot of where everyone's money comes from, to be honest. And that is the fusing recipe, which I'll show you in just a second. I'm just going to put the stuff away. I'll just dump it in here. So when you finish or start mapping, you're going to notice certain items drop, like this one here, and it has 6 sockets on it. That is extremely important, and whenever you see an item with 6 sockets on it, you 110% want to pick that baby up, and you want to make sure you're getting every single one of these. So if your loot filter doesn't show these very well for you, get a loot filter that does. Because just like today, I'll give you an example, I made 500 chaos just from picking these up. And that's no exaggeration. You can see here I've got 1,000 chaos. 500 of that is from picking these 6 sockets up. And what this will allow you to do is when you go to the vendor here, you can see you'll get 7 jeweler's orbs for a 6 socket item. So that's obviously not heaps, but it adds up. Trust me, you're going to be getting 1 to 2, sometimes 3, and in extreme cases, tons of these a map. And let's just trade this in here. So now I have 7 Jeweler's Orbs. This isn't a fusing Grim, what are you talking about? So what you do with these Jeweler's Orbs is you're going to go ahead and go to any of the towns in the acts, and what you want to do is you want to jump over here to a vendor who sells the potions, and you're going to see and notice that you can buy a fusing orb for 4 jeweler's orbs. And when we do that, we can buy that, and we're 1 jeweler short here, but that doesn't matter. I've got a jeweler in the bank, so you get 7 jeweler's orbs for a 6 socket. You can basically convert that to 2 fusings, and 2 fusings right now is worth 1 chaos. So each of these 6 socket items on the ground is worth exactly a chaos, pretty much. And that's massive. So if you pick up 50 bees in a play session, you pretty much get like 50 or 45 chaos from that. And that is really insane. So if you're skipping these, you need to make sure you're not skipping them, basically. They're worth a lot of money, and you're going to be making the bank of those. Fusings sell instantly. Everyone wants tons of them. So you're going to have no problem turning like 100 fusings into 50 chaos. So that's really good. Make sure you're picking those up. It is pretty much essential if you want to be making that sweet gains from your maps. So definitely pick up the fusings. Next one up is going to be a little bit probably out of reach for a lot of people, but if you have a 6 link that you find, whether it be corrupted, a tabula rasa, or just a garbo 6 link that you found in your map, you can actually sell that to a vendor for a divine orb. And a divine orb's worth around 10 chaos. So if you're doing, I don't know, like a map and the 6 link drops, or you're doing a corrupted box from a map or something like that, and it drops, you can get a divine orb and just cash that in for 10 chaos. Definitely look and see if you can sell the 6 link first, but it can be worth it to just grab that divine orb, especially in the case of tabula rasa. Currently, it's not worth much money, so you can just sell those off and get divine orbs and trade like 10 of them or something at a time and get 50 chaos for, 100 chaos actually for that. And that's going to be great for you. Another good way of making money, and you don't want to be stuck with those pesky garbage 6 links. So those are really interesting. So you get your 6 socket, your elder / chaos recipe, and your 6 link. Next one up is another new one, and I recently just made 2 exalts from it today, and that is the Loreweave recipe. So Loreweave is a new item that just came out this patch. Here it is on PoE trade. It's a chess piece that's it's quite sought after. It's a very good chess piece. It's extremely defensive, and it's just got a lot of utility on it. It pretty much has everything you'd want. And the only way you can get this chess piece is by using a vendor recipe. Unfortunately, I did mine this morning, and I have already sold the Loreweave. I sold it for 1.6 exalts, but I'm going to tell you how you're going to be able to get it, and kind of how you can go about doing that. So to do the Loreweave recipe, you need 60 unique rings. That's a full inventory of rings here. So every single slot needs to be full. You're going to go to the vendor. Oh, I'll just grab some of these out now. You're going to go to the vendor and you're going to be like, yo, what's up? And you're going to trade every single ring to the vendor. And once you have the full inventory full, it will give you Loreweave, which is that chess piece we just looked at before. All of them need to be unique. It doesn't matter if they're identified, unidentified, or corrupted, or anything. You can trade those in, and you can basically cash that in straight away for 1.5 exalts, basically. So all those garbage unique rings you were leaving on the floor now are worth around 1 to 2, maybe even 3 if the price of Loreweave goes up. Chaos Orbs. So you 100% want to be picking those up. Just put them in a tab somewhere if you have room. So that's the Loreweave recipe. Over time, you will make quite a few exalts from that. I imagine over like a week of me playing, I'll probably earn 4. I might earn like 2 or 3, maybe even 4 Loreweaves over my play sessions. So that's pretty good money. I definitely want to be picking those up. That's like 6 or 8 exalts that I wouldn't have had otherwise. So I don't see why you wouldn't be picking these up. So very, very good. Make sure you hang on to the rings yourself. Don't sell them on PoE Trade. There's a lot of price fixes right now, but you can make big, big bank off the Loreweave recipe. The price might go down, but we'll just have to see about that one. It's a very good chess piece indeed. So next up, I want to talk about some lower kind of tier recipes, but they're just useful to have around. So a lot of people are like, ooh, wisdom scrolls, portal scrolls. Let's pick up the wisdom and portal scrolls. So you don't actually want to be doing that ever in the game apart from like the first 30 minutes of a brand new league, because you can just pick up transmute orbs and sell them to Zana. So as we can see here, we have tons and tons of scrolls for just 23 transmutes, and transmutes drop all the time. You can also sell things like alterations and stuff like that, but you don't want to be doing that. If you're needing scrolls and you want to get them quick, you can sell whetstones, armor scraps, or transmutes, and it'll give you a truckload of scrolls. And then if you specifically need portal scrolls, what you want to do with those scrolls you just got, the wisdom ones, is again head over to the vendor in any of the acts, talk to the potion guy or girl, whoever it is. And you can see here, you can trade 3 wisdoms for a portal scroll. And that'll allow you to stock up on portal scrolls without much problem, which is really good. And you'll be able to have your portal scrolls or whatever. I would recommend getting a portal gem if you can, though. Really handy. So next up, last one on these kind of cash recipes that I'm talking about here is the GCP recipe. And I do this one a lot because I like to level up in powers and enlightens, and I hate buying the GCPs myself. Especially when you go through 20 of them for each of these gems, it really blows. So I try and do as much of the GCP recipe as I can. And what the GCP recipe is by picking up quality gems, doesn't matter what quality they are, off the floor and putting them in the bank, you can withdraw a ton of them here. I'll show you what I mean. Don't want to do that one. Withdraw a ton of them here, and you can just go over to the vendor and you can be like, yo, what's up? And you can just trade them all in here, and you can see I'm starting to get GCPs or gem cutter prisms, and that's because whenever you trade gems with quality on it to a vendor and it adds up to 40%, actually no, it's 20%, so you've got that there. Actually, maybe it is 40%. I think it is 40%. Anyway, some percentage. When you trade enough of them to the vendor, they will start offering you GCPs for your quality gems. And that's because if you look at these gems, some of them are complete garbage, like Bladefall with 15% quality. No one wants that. So selling that to the vendor is going to be getting you GCPs, which are worth around 0.75 of a chaos. So not bad there. Picking up these quality gems is definitely worth your time, especially if you're leveling up things like enlightens and stuff like that. They may only be a fraction of a chaos, but they're not hard to pick up, and they're definitely worth your time picking up. You just get them all at the end of your session out of your dump tab, and you trade them all at once. Again, I got quite a few of these here. And then you can get a ton of GCPs, and you can quality up some of your gems. Maybe you want to, I don't know, quality up some of your main gems and do stuff like that. But it's a pretty handy recipe. I like doing it. It's pretty effective, and you're going to have a good time with it. So next up, gameplay recipes. So I get asked all the time, without a fail, every video, Grim, how did you do the Shaper's Orbs and stuff like that without having the maps on your atlas? So basically, there is a recipe in the game which allows you to rip maps off your atlas. So it can uncomplete maps off the atlas. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that right now, just so those people who don't know can kind of understand what they need to do and what they need to kind of like make to make it so that you can rip them off. So let's say I want to take off a yellow map, this orchid map. It doesn't matter what color map you want to take off. You can take off whites, yellows, or reds. All you need is 3 of the corresponding color of sextant to the map that you want. So if I want to take off a yellow one, I need 3 yellows. If I want to take a red one, 3 reds. So let's say I want to take a red one off. I need 3 red sextants and a orb of scouring. And you can just trade that to the vendor there, and it'll give you what's called a cartographer's seal. You right click this and click on any map on the atlas, and it'll remove that off the atlas. So that's how I take off the maps from my atlas. It's pretty simple. You just need to get those sextants, trade them with an orb of scouring, and you're good to go. So that's no problem. Next one up, obviously now that you know how to remove maps, is how do I unshape a map and what is the recipe? So all the maps on the atlas that you shape up, you can unshape again. So if I don't want dunes anymore, there is a recipe to make an item which will allow me to unshape that. And that recipe is 20 chisels and 5 regrets. And that will give you what's called an unshaping orb, as we can see here. Pretty easy. And what that'll allow you to do is click any map on the atlas, unshape it, and then you can talk to Zana and say, take Shaper's Orb, and the one that you just unshaped will be here again. And then you can choose a new map to shape, and it'll be all good. So next, I just wanted to cover a few more kind of really niche ones with the vendor. So you can do what's called flipping gems. I don't think I can show you this because I don't have any level 20 gems here. Oh, we've got a culling strike. I can show you. So if you have a level 20 gem that you've got on your character and you don't really care about the level and you want to just get a high quality gem, so the quality is more important to you than the level. If you have that level 20, what you can do is swap the level for quality, and we'll show you that there. If you trade a GCP with a level 20 gem, it'll actually swap it back down to level 1 and give you 20% quality. So a lot of the time this isn't worth it because level 20 gems can be valed for level 21 gems, and that's very valuable. But for something like Culling Strike, you don't really care and you just want the level 20, you want the 20% support quality on it. So just a little quick handy note there that you can flip over gems from 20 to 20% quality. That's another vendor recipe that you guys should know. Moving on, the last couple ones I want to talk here about is how to upgrade your sextants. So let's say I need red sextants right now. I want to take a bunch of maps off my atlas, and I'm dying for them. No one on PoE Trade will answer to me. I'm at my last resort here. I need it right now. What you can do, and it's not suggested, but what you can do is sell 3 of any colored sextant for the next level color of sextant. So as you can see here, I've got 3 yellows, and that will become a red one because I'm trading 3 to the vendor. And that's pretty good. And I've used it a few times this league. I use it a few times every league, generally at the start when people don't have that much to sell and I'm ahead of the curve and I need to get stuff done. But generally, the best idea is to sell the sextant to someone else and then rebuy the ones you actually want because you're going to be saving money there. But those are the kind of recipes that I use most, and I thought it would be really important for you guys to know that. I just had a feeling that people are leaving behind 6 sockets and stuff like that, because I hear these stories about how people can't earn money from maps and stuff, and it seems really obvious to me that you need to pick these things up. But if you guys don't know that, like, I would lose money if I didn't pick up the 6 sockets in a map. And even doing these little things like the new Elder and Shaper recipes, they just add on more profit to your maps, and that's how you're able to amass such massive amounts of currency in the end. So again, Loreweave, a new one, really important to do. The 6 socket, very important. And just overall, I hope you guys have learned maybe at least one little thing from this video. I do have another one here about how to change your Bandit. This is a really simple one. All you need is 20 regrets and an amulet of the Bandit that you want to change to. So I believe it is, if you want to change to Oak, what you need is Amber Amulet because he's the strength guy, and 20 regrets, and it's going to give you a Book of Reform, which is going to swap your Bandit from what it is to Oak. And then if you want it to be a Lyra, you'd use the blue amulet, and then obviously the assassin guy is the green one. And if you want the 2 skill points, you put an Onyx amulet in there, I believe, and it will give you two skill point book thing, and then you'll be good to go. So if you don't know how to swap your Bandit, that's how you do it. 20 regrets and an amulet of the corresponding color to the kind of character you're trying to get of the bandits, and that will allow you to do that. So that's all the recipes I have for today. Got a lot of stuff coming up. Wind Ripper is done for the most part, apart from insane 20 Exalt items, which I'm not planning on getting for now. But yeah, Wind Ripper's done, so you can expect a guide about that coming up. Got my 6-link bow and all that good stuff, so that'll probably be one of the next videos. I'm going to cover the new update for Bestiary and what I think about it. And I actually have found myself farming beasts today. There is a valuable recipe that I've been trying to do today, and for some of my other money making ventures in the game. So beast crafting is good. It's just whether or not that it's going to be improved a little bit more. We'll talk about that in another video though. But yeah, I'm also going to talk about all the items and how they impacted the meta of all the builds and stuff like that. I want to talk about all of the new clear speed builds like Wind Ripper, Spark, all that kind of stuff. I want to talk about the new support builds like Spider Occultist, bird chicken champion is what I like to call it, the bird aspect. That's going to be a video, and I also have some stuff to do with loot filters coming up. We're working on that right now. You can expect some of that kind of loot filter action coming up as well. Finally, I know, right? That's been the mission of this channel, and it's actually finally going to be happening, and we're going to have something really crazy for you guys. So that's the video for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Look forward to the Wind Ripper guide. Look forward to all the stuff coming up. I got a lot of stuff planned. And probably stick with Bestiary. I think it's going to get better. That talisman recipe looks pretty spicy. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the league. I'll catch you later.